You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Well, let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Well, welcome back. Today is Monday, October the 2nd, 2017. A rather somber day for so many people. After the tragedy last night in Las Vegas, in fact, let's pause for a moment. Lord, we pray for peace of mind for all the folks affected in Las Vegas, their families, those who are wounded in hospitals, those who've passed. We just pray that there'd be a presence of your Spirit, calming effect, help the officers as they attempt to get to the bottom. We thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. Prayer, I know of no other way to honor those who are gone, and well, I had to pray for those that are still here. So it is Monday, First day of the week, first trading day of October the 2nd. I'm glad you've joined us today. Hopefully you found your way around the new link and you were able to get in. First of the month, there's always a new link, but then once you sign up, you're good for the entire month. On the right-hand side of our homepage at cfrn.net, there's a big microphone. Click that, follow the instructions. 30 seconds, you're good for the next 30 days. Okay? Also, youtube.com/CFRN/live. That'll do the trick as well. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at exactly what did happen last night. At least 50 people lost their life, and more than 400 were injured last night in Las Vegas in the deadliest shooting in modern U.S. history. My wife was in Vegas just a couple weeks ago. A gunman opened fire from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Resort, aiming into a tightly packed crowd of thousands below who were attending a country music festival. The shooter, armed with what appeared to be at least one automatic weapon, used the elevated vantage point to fire into the crowds across the Las Vegas Strip at the Route 91 Harvest Festival, where Jason Aldean was on stage at the time. Soon after the shooting, which began at 10:08 p.m. Pacific, a SWAT team stormed the building, forced their way into his hotel room, and found the gunman already dead. Officers identified him as Stephen Paddock, a 64-year-old man from Nevada. They believe he was the only attacker and that he killed himself before they arrived. A statement from ISIS claimed that the attack was their doing and that Paddock converted to Islam a few months ago. U.S. security officials speaking to the Reuters news agency said there was no evidence of this. In a press conference, the sheriff of Las Vegas said the death toll was in excess of 50, revised up from a previous figure of 20. More than 400 people were injured. Lombardo said officers had spoken to a woman, Marilou Danley, described as Paddock's roommate. She was outside the U.S., he said, and officers believe she was not involved in the attack. The police are searching Paddock's hotel room, which they say contained at least 10 rifles. He had been staying in the hotel since Thursday, September 28th, which he believes the room was booked using his roommate's ID. Officers are also investigating his house in Mesquite, Nevada, which is 80 miles from Las Vegas. Lombardo said that officers were investigating the Mesquite property very slowly in case there are explosive traps there. Footage posted on social media showed the moment shots started to hit the crowd, which police estimated was around 22,000. The concert on stage, Jason Aldean, I'm not familiar with him, later said in an Instagram post that the shooting was beyond horrific, but that he and his crew were safe. There's on the social media on the internet, there's pictures, there's videos, which you probably don't want to watch. Lombardo said it was too early to comment on the potential motivations of the attacker. He added that 2 off-duty police officers were killed in the violence. Another 2 were injured. Part of the I-5 freeway, which runs parallel to Las Vegas Boulevard, also known as the Las Vegas Strip, was closed but has since been partially reopened. The death toll makes the massacre the deadliest shooting in modern U.S. history, surpassing the attack on the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida last year that claimed 49 lives. And the story will continue to develop for the next few days. But do pray for those who are wounded in hospital rooms right now, trying to recover. All right, we'll take a look at the market numbers from around the world, and then Michael will pop in and do a recap of the live training room as he does each and every day. We'll start with the Dow, and these are the cash markets. The Dow is up 78 points. NASDAQ is down 5.5. S&P 500 is up 4, and the Russell 2000 is up 6.5. In the commodity basket, crude oil is down $1.47. That's almost 3%. Trading 50.20, 50.18 last. Gold down $7, 0.5%. Trading 1277.80 last. Moving to the Asian markets. The Nikkei closed the session up 44 points. Shanghai closed up 9.5, and the Hang Seng up 132 points at the bell, almost 0.5%. So the color of the day for Asia was green, and the same for Europe. The FTSE closed the session up 66 points, almost 1%. The DAX was up 73, 0.5%, and the CAC closed up 20 points. That was inching in on 0.5%. So green in Asia, green in Europe, and mixed here in the U.S., primarily because of the NASDAQ, and the commodities are in the red. Interestingly, silver's up just a fraction, but gold continues its dive. Okay, Michael, if you're ready.
Okay, I am ready.
You can.
I am ready.
Did you hear about this Vegas thing last night or this morning?
This morning. First thing this morning when I logged into the room. Some of the guys were talking about it.
Yeah.
I did not hear about it until this morning.
What an unbelievable thing.
I was just watching during the break a little bit of news on it. And crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Why didn't the guy just take himself out first? Yeah. I'd have to fire into a crowd of unarmed, innocent people.
Hard to understand.
Yep, it is.
Okay, I'll hit mute and it's all yours.
All right. Okay, here we go, guys. Today is Monday, the 2nd day of October, 2017. That. All right, the 2nd day of October 2017, and today, well, first, if you haven't taken our free trial, then all you need to do is go to the homepage here at CFRN.net. Right here at the very top where it says sign up for the CFRN live training room, 100% free trial, user indicators on our strategy. Click here, just go and click there, and once you do that, you will be sent to this page right here, where you just need to put in your email, put in your first name, and tell us how you found us. Then click on submit. Once you hit submit, well, at that point, you will you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the confirmation link, you will not be given a free trial. Okay. All right. In the room today, we had a red day today. I hate starting out the month with a red day, but we were down 6 ticks. Well, we're -8 on the euro, -1 on crude. Okay, that's like -6 equivalent on crude. And we took a total of 7 trade opportunities. Okay, so that's where we stand. It's the first day of the month. Let's just take a look at what we did and didn't do in here. All right, this was gold. And in the pre-market in gold, there was some opportunity. And we did have some partners that got their goal for the day right away in the gold. I was trying to highlight all the areas that I missed. There was one right here, goal for the day. Right there, goal for the day. Over here, we had a break even, and we missed that one. And we had another break even. Okay, that was all we hit on gold. And it got really choppy in here. And during the break, it started to move up and broke dynamic resistance, but it has not pulled back yet to get a trade set up. Okay. And on the euro, we missed that one and that one. And we stopped out on this one pretty much to the tick, and then it went up and did what it should have done. And we missed that one and that one. Mondays are probably the days that we miss more trades than any other day, because we just got so much going on Mondays. All right, and so we were -8 ticks on the euro. On the crude, we started out right here with +2. Then we stopped out right there again, pretty much to the tick, and then it went up and did what it should have done. That put us at -6. And we got 4 ticks profit right there to put us at, blow this up a little better. 4 ticks right there, that put us at -2, and 1 tick here to put us at -1. During the break, there was a bounce off the BBC right here. That would have been a break even right over here. And that's it. It's looking like it's going to put in a momentum long trade right now. But I do not know. Now the Russell, we didn't do anything with the Russell today because the ES, most of the morning was in and around the zone. We did miss a couple here right at the beginning, one right there and one right there, both of which would have been break even. Looks like right here we missed one, a shorting opportunity. Or was, no, you know what, I was waiting for a lower swing. And then we got a lower swing over here. And I think the ES was in the zone, that's why we weren't doing anything with it. And during the break, if we ignore the ES during the break, there was a long right there. And a long right there. Okay, now the ES, as I said, it made one approach up here to this weekly trading zone, and then it chopped sideways for like an hour and a half. Okay, it started to move down at the end of the session this morning, pulled back up, it gave a shorting opportunity off the BBC right there for a point or so, and now it's pulled back again. Did put in a lower swing, and it's pulled back again, but the cycle's starting to go up too steep there on the ES. Okay. That was it, guys. It was a, well, it was a rough start of the month. Okay, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. This is -8 on the euro, -1 on crude. And over here, 7 trades. Okay. So that's it right there. On the year now, okay, that's the month, but on the year now, we're at 26,680 on the year. That's one contract, 2 hours per day. Okay. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, again, just go to the homepage here at cfrn.net, sign up for the CFRN Live Training Room, 100% free trial, user indicators, learner strategy. Click here. When you click there, you'll be sent to this page. And on this page, all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Then hit the submit button. Okay, once you do that, then you'll be sent to confirmation link. You got to click the confirmation link, right? Because we don't know you took the free trial until you hit that confirmation link. Yeah, see, somebody just did it. Joe did. And we know that Joe did it because we just got an email from her. We don't get any emails until you hit that confirmation link. Okay. So with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona.
Already?
Okay. I didn't finish.
Oh, I'm
Overlooking
sorry.
in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Okay, there.
Very good.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. And it appears that Robin is fine because I got something on Facebook from her.
Well, that's good. Hope our other friend there in Vegas is okay too. I don't think
Yeah.
I'm sure he was home in bed.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't like to go out much, I don't think.
Nope. Okay. So, tough trading day.
Yeah.
But it's only the first of the month. But the important thing, guys, is that's the truth about trading. Okay? Whether it's a great day or tough day. And we're working inside of a 2-hour window. And first day of the week, first day of the month brings its own headaches. And when I goof up the link in the email, that makes it even worse. So anyhow, I resent everyone an email with the proper link, so you have no problems for the rest of the week. And my apology that you had a problem today.
That's all right.
So
We got it worked out.
that's the truth about sending emails. Sometimes you mess one up. Okay. All right. In other headlines today, well, I guess there's maybe a little something else. They've got some information out on this guy responsible for this mess. The Las Vegas police identified Stephen Craig Paddock as the man who opened fire. We covered that. He was not an avid gun guy at all, according to Eric, his brother. Where the heck did he get automatic weapons? He has no military background. He's a guy who lived at a house in Mesquite and drove down and gambled in Vegas. That comment straight from his brother, Eric. He was retired, had no criminal record before the attack. A Washington Post report on Paddock described a quiet man who occasionally came to Vegas to gamble or catch concerts, was a former resident of Texas, and held a hunting license in Alaska. Paddock had been checked into his Mandalay Bay hotel room with his girlfriend's identification 3 days before the attack. Police initially identified her as a person of interest, but have said she is not a suspect in the attack, and I think that's because she was out of the country. Is there anything else here that we haven't covered about him? The Post noted that Paddock had worked for a predecessor company of Lockheed Martin, the giant defense contractor that builds planes. I don't know why that's relevant. He lived in the suburbs around Mesquite, which sits near the border with Arizona, about an hour and a half from where the shooting took place. The sheriff said, "We have no idea what his belief system was, so this business of him converting to Islam, possible, I suppose." The Daily Mail quoted Paddock's brother Eric as saying he and his mother were in shock and dumbfounded. Wow. Can you imagine being his mother? According to the Daily Mail, Eric described his brother as a normal guy who must have simply snapped. The police are not investigating the attack as an act of terrorism at this time. Well, you know, whether he had any ties to ISIS or not, this is domestic terrorism on U.S. soil, and it just doesn't get any worse than that. You know, we grew up hearing about all the violence and carnage over there. It was always I remember as a kid, it was always over there, over there, over there. Well, sadly, things have changed. There's an op-ed piece on the markets in general. Sentiment on the U.S. stock market may be too positive for its own good. Wall Street analysts showed extreme bullishness on stocks at the end of September, based on a monthly survey conducted by Bank of America Merrill Lynch. As such, the firm's proprietary sell-side indicator, which monitors investor exuberance, is now nearly 2 standard deviations above its 4-year average. Bank of America points out that it's historically been a bearish signal when Wall Street gets extremely bullish. Described by the firm as a reliable contrarian indicator, the sell-side gauge helps bolster the long-standing argument from stock market pessimists that U.S. stocks are overheating. On prior occasions in which the indicator had been 1 standard deviation above the 4-year rolling average, S&P 500 has returned less than 1% over the following 12 months, and it has actually declined almost half of the time. Relative to the last 4 years, sentiment levels are now at relative levels that have historically indicated weak returns over the next 12 months. It has historically been a bullish signal when Wall Street was extremely bearish, and vice versa. Take, for instance, the S&P 500's recent resilience in the face of weakness in tech stocks, previously viewed as an indispensable pillar of continued stock gains. Instead of selling off, the benchmark hit a series of new highs as investors rotated into previously unfavored energy and telecom stocks. More than anything, these conflicting signals show that no one truly knows what's ahead for the U.S. stock market. There's ample evidence on either side of the bull-bear debate. So in the meantime, the best possible advice is probably just to keep buying, but stay hedged against an unexpected shock. This was the open last night. You can see the chart I have up. It's the S&P 500, Emini Futures, still showing last week's zones, as I actually look for this week's zones, which I had here a moment ago. And they appear to have escaped me once again.
Want me to send them to you?
No, I got them. It's just a momentary miss. I do have last week's now. The highest weekly zone last week, which we never put it on the chart because we didn't get up into that territory, was at 27.
25, 27, 25, 28.
27, 20, yeah. Oh, there's 25, 28. So this little run up today, which came off the Wall Street Open, almost made it to last week's highest weekly zone. Now, in the not so tragic headlines, Apple is investigating isolated reports of the iPhone 8 bursting open. The company said it's looking into 2 reports of the issue, but declined to comment further. Former Uber CEO Travis Kalanick appointed 2 new board members in a defiant move the company is calling a complete surprise. Xerox chairwoman Ursula Burns and former Merrill Lynch CEO John Thain are the 2 new members. Uber's board is reportedly thinking about stripping co-founder Travis of his power. The board will take a vote on tomorrow. Tesla is sending hundreds of battery packs to Puerto Rico in the wake of major hurricanes. The company's Powerwall battery can capture energy generated by solar panels. Kind of them. Switzerland's financial watchdog, the Swiss Financial Market Supervisory Authority, is concerned that some initial coin offerings are violating the country's laws against terrorist financing. FINMA announced Friday that it was looking into a number of ICOs for breaching provisions on combating money laundering and terrorist financing. Mark Zuckerberg has apologized for Facebook's role in dividing people. He made his comments in a Yom Kippur message vowing to do better. Shazam, the British technology company known for its music recognition technology, made just $54 million in revenues last year. The revenue figure raises questions about its billion-dollar valuation. Now, for those of you that don't know what Shazam is, it's an app. It's on your phone. You walk into a store, a restaurant, or a song comes on TV, or the radio, wherever. You hit the app, and it recognizes the song. Tells you the name of the song, who's singing the song, and provides you with a link that you can click through to hear the song and, of course, buy the song. But you can do the same thing with Siri. That may be a problem for Shazam. And Blade Runner 2049 is a visual feast, according to critics. This is the mind-blowing sequel to the first Blade Runner. I think there's only been one. 35 years in the making. It'll hit the theaters October 6th. If you're a Blade Runner fan, I'm sure you'll be there. And if you're a Ryan Gosling fan, the same. Who knows where Catalonia is? News that Catalonia has won right to statehood sent the price of Bitcoin at 4,400 on Sunday evening, close to 45% above the recent Jamie Dimon low. It's now official. 90% of Catalans who participated in Sunday's referendum voted for independence. It sounds like a clear victory for Catalonia's independence movement. Trouble is that only 42.3% of Catalonians participated in the referendum, which Spain's constitutional court has declared illegal, and scores of people were injured in clashes with the police. While it's still unclear which way things will go next, one thing is clear: uncertainty is to spread over Spain, EU, and the global economy. It's music to the ears of Bitcoin traders who push the digital currency up close to $150 Sunday evening as clashes between pro-independence demonstrators and Spanish police broke off. Bitcoin prices have stayed firmly above $4,000 US recently, as traders have realized that the digital currency can survive and even thrive without China. And government regulation is positive, not negative, for the future of Bitcoin and other major cryptocurrencies. It adds credibility to the market while limiting the supply of new coin offerings. Meanwhile, the digital currency has emerged as the new gold, a hedge against growing global uncertainty, as it was discussed right here. Well, well. In other Bitcoin news, let's see. The achievement continues a trend which began in the last week of September with prices jumping almost $1,000 in the intervening days after Jamie Dimon's statement. Chinese regulatory posturing, including the slow shutdown of its exchange industry, as well as negative comments from JP Morgan, saw last month drag down markets across the cryptoverse, while Chinese investors soon rallied to find alternate means to continue trading. A raft of well-known figures likewise came out in support of Bitcoin against Jamie Dimon's statement. With the FUD effect now in reversal, a further surge in prices Sunday came as the results of the referendum we just spoke of. The impact on Bitcoin strictly due to this event is being increasingly reported, yet the evidence is dubious, according to commentators from within the cryptosphere, such as White Panda. Meanwhile, NEO continues to buck the trend of lackluster altcoin market performance Monday, posting 24-hour gains of around 14%. Support for the altcoin has recently come from Korean exchange markets, with momentum getting started once again after China's anti-ICO moves early last month. Now, you need to check your PC to make sure it's not being pirated for its computing power. First, it was the Pirate Bay. That's a website. Then Showtime, that's a pay-for-play television network, was caught secretly using page visitors' processing power to mine cryptocurrency as a form of alternative revenue. It has led to some indignation from users of such sites, as well as worry and fear about the vulnerability of users who are visiting sites and staying on them for a long time. However, there are a few things that can be done to protect yourself. It must be stated that the reasoning put forward, along with an apology from the Pirate Bay, was that they saw it as an alternative to banner advertising, which is tricky for what is essentially an illegal website. Many were happy with the idea of their processor being used, but not happy with the secret nature of it all. So what can you do? If you're not happy with the idea of someone using your computer to mine cryptocurrency without your knowledge, there's a few ways to check if you are a victim. Simply by opening your resource manager on your computer. On Windows, hit Control-Alt-D. A noticeable spike when visiting a certain site, that should not be taxing your CPU. That's an obvious sign of JavaScript running, and it's using your processing power. Additionally, if you have everything closed but CPU usage is still super high, then you may have a crypto mining malware problem. Mining hijacking can occur simply by visiting certain sites, but there have been instances where infected advertisements on sites have also led to this CPU pirating. Researchers at security software vendor ESET have explained this process. Thus, running an ad blocker can put a stop to some of it. Additionally, ad blocking software can also filter out known types of in-browser miners. One such mining script is called CoinHive, which isn't necessarily malware. CoinHive is trying to approach this as legitimately as possible and condemned Showtime for using their JavaScript without alerting users that they would be utilized for mining. Besides from legitimate pirate mining software, there are more sophisticated forms of malware which actively penetrate the system. They are delivered through infected image files or by clicking on links leading to a malicious site. Be very careful on anything you click on from an email. If one of these hits you, you should open up Task Manager, identify the process that is eating up all those computer cycles, and terminate it from your resource monitor. Don't think it can't happen to you, because it can. And don't forget, a whole lot of hackers probably have your personal information now because of the breach at Equifax. Alright, looks like John has joined us, so let me open up his mic. Hey John, welcome to the show. John, are you there? You got an open mic. Hey John, you there? John.
Well, I hear you asking.
Yeah. Yeah, he's having problems with his microphone. Okay. All right, we'll move on until he gets it up and going. Okay, cover the headlines. Let's go to our good word for the day. Treat your enemy with kindness. Proverbs 25:22. We all know the scripture, love thy enemy. Sounds good, poetic even, but not so easily done. Proverbs 25:22 says, you will heap coals of fire on his head. Now, I dare say that when you pray for your enemy, I don't think you should take that literally. It's not enough to simply leave your enemies alone. You must demonstrate God's love towards them. Proverbs 25:21 through 22. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For so you will heap coals of fire on his head, and the Lord will reward you. What does it mean, this heaping coals of fire on his head? It doesn't sound like the Love Boat. Charles Swindoll explains that in ancient days, homes were heated and meals were fixed on a small portable stove, somewhat like our outside barbecue grills. Frequently, a person would run low on hot coals and need to replenish his or her supply. The container was commonly carried on the head. So as the individual passed beneath second-story windows, thoughtful people who had extra hot coals in their possession would reach out the window and place them in the container atop the person's head. Thanks to the thoughtful generosity of a few folks, they would arrive at the site with a pile of burning coals on their head and a ready-made fire for cooking and keeping warm. In effect, heaping burning coals on someone's head came to be a popular expression for a spontaneous and courteous act one person would voluntarily do for another. When you treat an enemy this way, the Bible promises, the Lord will reward you. You have a choice. You can experience the short-term satisfaction of retaliating and get into trouble with God for doing it and the law, or you can show mercy and kindness and be rewarded by God for doing so. So the word for you today is to treat your enemy with kindness. It's hard. It's difficult. The enemy has his way of cooking up all sorts of scenarios that could play out in your mind, which is his battlefield, and where we have to battle him so many times. We can't do it alone. He's been perfecting his craft since the beginning of time. We need God's help to love our enemy. That is the good word for the day. And we're going to give John another try. Hey, John, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I actually had a bit of trouble signing up today, and
Sorry about
something
that.
weird happened. No, I kind of got on the first time, and then the sound went off, and somehow my volume got nudged down to 0. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, I didn't realize that until I went in the second time, got back on, and then it still wasn't any noise until I found out that was the issue. So, anyhow, thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. What a horrible tragedy last night, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is a horrendous day, very sad day for the world, and for just a sec.
Okay, last night on the Concierge Trade Alerts, we had an error on the sell side. Obviously, that was to be a down number. And
Sorry, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's a very sad day, and it's a bad day because this kind of thing, the enormity of it, gives a lot of the bad people bad ideas, you know, for the future. So it's probably going to mean that we're going to see more of this in the future, which is you know, just the way of the future is. It's going to be life is never going to be the same again, because the firepower is getting stronger and better all the time, and there are plenty of people around who will try and put it to use to in a very bad way. So it's a tough day to get through.
Yeah, and you know, this is a guy who had no obvious affiliations with anyone. His brother said he wasn't a gun person. He was a quiet guy, lived in Mesquite, Nevada, right on the Arizona border. He'd go to Vegas, gamble occasionally, watch concerts. His roommate says that she saw nothing unusual going on. His brother says I think he just snapped. You know, but what pushes a person? And ultimately, after he shot all those people, he took his own life. I mean, as Michael said earlier, you know, why not skip the carnage? And if you're going to take your life, just, you know, take it.
Yeah. Well, remember the guy who flew his plane into the IRS building in Florida? This is sort of the same sort of thing.
I remember.
You know, it could be something. It could be something like that. You know, you never know. We'll find out, I guess, in due course. But yeah, it would be a lot easier if he didn't have to go through the motions of ranting his violence on the world before taking his own life. It's such a waste, and there's so many instances of it. You know, these days, you always can't go through reading the paper these days when somebody isn't killing their family and then killing themselves. It's a pretty frequent occurrence these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, it really is. It's becoming almost commonplace. And as I said earlier, when, you know, growing up, it was always happening over there, wherever over there happened to be this week. But it never happened here at home. It never happened in America. But that's all changed now. The Orlando shooting was it had the highest death toll on record, and of course last night eclipsed that on a Sunday night. I mean, Sunday nights is when The Wonderful World of Disney came on at 8 o'clock. I remember that quite well. And Disney has come out with their own cryptocurrency. So I'll have that news for you later. So market-wise, what are you seeing today? Did we lose you?
Yeah, it sounds like his mic is shut off or something. It's typically what happens to me.
You may have got bumped out again. Looks like he's still logged in. Oh well. So on the S&P, again, the sell side, that was an error. Hit too many digits. Just didn't make sense. The buy side, 25.24. We put in a high today, a new all-time high at 25.25.75. This was a new high last night off the opening bell. Then another new high today. Problem is, as Mike Crude would say, when they do it, they can't seem to stick. So we pulled back almost to that 16-17 zone from last week. And then a leg and a retracement. Price coming back to confirm this area as good support. And then at the 9:30 Eastern Wall Street open, we moved from market open today for the day session at 25.18 and we put in a high at 25.25.75. And now we're getting ready, it looks like, to cross that 24 again. Trading that as a Concierge Trade Alert, you would want your stop to be, let's see, the low of this candle is 25.19. You want to be at least 25.18 with your stop. Now 18 to 24, that's 6 points at $50 a point. That's $300. That's the maximum amount that we like to risk on any Concierge Trade Alert. That's the maximum. If we drop down to a 5-minute chart, we won't have anything any better. The same story. So you have to decide, do you want to risk the maximum amount, or would you, given that you have 8 markets, 2 trades per market, and important prices, important areas are almost always tested, would you rather wait for a trade that offers a true low risk opportunity? That's a decision that you make as you write your trading plan, because the discretionary trading of the Concierge Trade Alerts is quite different from the rules-based trading that we do every day in the live training room. In the live training room, you always know what to do, how to do it, with no question whatsoever. That's the beauty of rules-based trading. Once you understand the methodology, the strategy, if the chart calls for a long trade, you know that's a long trade. With Our method, it defines the entry point to the tick, so it doesn't matter where you are around the globe. If you're going long any of the markets, you know exactly what price you're going to enter. Every trade that we do there has an 8-tick hard stop. When we have 4 ticks profit, we move our stop to break even. And then, of course, you have your target. The more experience you have with our method, you may choose to trail your stop, as Michael does, but in the beginning, we do recommend that you use a bracket order. So, rules-based trading. If you're new to trading, you absolutely want to start there. Ask as many questions as you possibly can in the beginning, and once you've asked them and they've been answered, then that becomes your knowledge, and knowledge is power. Once you understand it, you own it. Okay?
Hello, Dwayne.
Yeah, welcome back.
Hello.
Hi, John. Hello.
Jeepers.
Boy, you're having a tough go of it today, huh?
Hello.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry, Dwayne. Yeah, look, I tell people don't call me between these 2 hours. Sometimes people do, but that's why I try and keep it open. So
No,
my apologies for the interruptions.
That's all right.
Yeah. The markets sold off a little bit here on the Nasdaq, which I kind of anticipated. You know, it's a little bit of a test of the previous month, but in general, the markets are acting phenomenally well today, which I basically was calling for last week. As I remember, we talked about the markets morphing into a strong October, and we're definitely seeing that right now. And you know, it pays to remember. I mean, October's I usually end up being strong months. You know, they may be the end of a crash a lot of times, and they're the turnaround month. So the fact that we're starting off October with a bang is pretty unusual, but it could be very, very bullish. I mean, look, I went out when we were under 22,000. I mean, we were about 2170. I think I came out with my 23,000, call. I'm really looking for 26, but we'll get to 23 first. And here we are just going through 22,500. We're already halfway there. It's just amazing. And look at the S&P. I said on Friday, the S&P is going to go for kind of a big run here. And it's happening. The mid cap is just staggering. I mean, look, it just doesn't get any bullish. What I gotta get across to people what you're looking at in this market right now. And by the way, I really was very intrigued listening to Garrett on Friday. You know, Garrett's a guy who's been around for a very long time. He's been there since the 70s, and he's seen, as he says, he's seen 4 really bad bear markets. And what I have to tell people is, look, and I think we've done a very, very good job between us, you and me alike, because we have a different approach to this market. We might have our views, and being bullish and being right doesn't it certainly helps you make more money. But I mean, I went short this morning, right before the downturn in this correction, because I said the fangs were basically bottom last week, and they opened higher this morning. They ran up a bit, but we actually sold them all almost at the highs, and they're down quite a bit since the highs. And I mean, look, I'm about making as much money as possible out of the market every day. I'm not here to be like the rest of Wall Street, to buy and hold and be stuck with losers and winners and all that kind of thing. I'm about winning. I'm about staying in winning stocks. I don't like the market going against me at any time. That's what I'm all about. And I can tell you, what we've done today, I've done one of my busiest days ever. I've made some incredible calls. We called Maxim last week. It's making new highs right now. We called ZGNX. That's gone up even further. That was a huge winner on Friday. we called Gild, G-I-L-D, right on this show, remember? That was rebuy on Friday near around about 79.5 or so. And look at it today, it's at 82.
You've been bullish on Gilead for a while.
Right. Well, it had a nice pullback. We sold Gild up around 84, and it went all the way down to 79.5. And we let it come down, and then we bought it, right here on Friday. And look at where it is today. And we've been doing that a lot with the pharma stocks. The pharma stocks are very strong. I mean, look at LABU, got to 90 this morning, and I said it's going to go to 100. And we sold at 89.5, bought it back a short while ago, and so that's our game, But with all due respect to Garrett, I noticed, he was talking about the fangs and saying, the head and shoulders and all this sort of thing. They could be, but the fangs, as far as I'm concerned, the fangs bottom last week. They certainly have maintained that kind of an upward momentum since the bottom last week, although they are turning down a bit right now. So listen, I already turned bearish on the fangs. Since I was bullish a week ago, I'm bearish now. That's the way I am. Netflix doesn't look very good right now, as a matter of fact. Of all of them, Netflix looks kind of like the worst. The other ones don't look too bad. Facebook coming back. I mean, look at Facebook. It's only $5 from an all-time high. We try and sort of scalp whatever we can, whenever we can. But the whole point is not to be on the wrong side of the market. Now, what I find, the old adage, the market's climbing a wall of worry, I certainly think it's been doing that for Garrett for a long time, because you can tell the way he talks. He's talking like, he said, well, GE, which is a traditional leader, or IBM, these companies are history. Nobody cares about GE anymore, because it's no longer, the leading company in the United States. Neither is IBM. You got to shake off this old kind of, Wall Street. You got to get with the program. There is a big deal going on today, and that's Intel. Intel is breaking out to new 19, 20-year highs, or 17-year highs. As I said on Friday, this is a very, 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 very bullish development. We're breaking out.
What's pushing Intel higher?
The economy, the chips. They've missed out on the mobile revolution to a certain extent. They did a deal with some people that's going to get their chips into more things, and they're definitely going after the mobile. They're probably going to make some pretty fantastic chips for the mobile, better than ever. And then there's the Microsoft story, which is this Satya. He's getting a lot of attention now about what an incredible job he's done turning around Microsoft. Bill Ballmer and Gates must be thanking their lucky stars that this guy ended up running the company, because he's an absolute genius. And he's made it, the most stunning turnaround story out there in a lot of ways. And he's sort of kept up with the Facebooks and the Googles of this world. But as I pointed out a long time ago, several months ago on the show, when Google and when all these fangs, Amazon in particular, got savaged, I said it would be very bullish if the market keeps going up. And this is the focal point of what I want to get across to people today. And I've been saying it, for months and months and months. What is different about this bull market than any other bull market we've ever been in our lives is it's not the leadership, it's the soldiers, it's the body of the market that's going higher every day. It's the bell curve, it's the fat part of the market. It's the underbelly of the market that's going higher. It does not get any more bullish than that when that's happening, because all of the stocks, on Friday we made about 170 new highs on NASDAQ. We made about 150 new highs in the S&P, or on the NYSE. This is just, it just doesn't get any better.
Bank of America came out with a report today that said The markets are too bullish. The bullish sentiment is too high, and they have an indicator that has historically worked pretty well, but past performance is no indication of future results. But it's 2 standard deviations above what they consider normal.
Yeah, there is no normal anymore, and that's another point to keep in mind. I mean, I know one thing. I tell you what, you can pretty much take this to the bank. I'm going to make a bet with you. I'm going to virtually guarantee that the day this market turns down, the next day I'll be coming in on this show and I'll be saying, congratulations, Dwayne, because you nailed it again. And we got something special that nobody else has. And because we're getting out of. Look, I said it on this show. We sold Amazon at $1,082 a share, $1 from the all-time record high. We went short at 102, and we held it all the way down to 937 or 940, somewhere like that. Almost, I think we got $99 out of it on the downside. I mean, that's prize-winning stuff. Just can't do things like that. I mean,
so you had a dollar drawdown on that particular trade.
I didn't because I didn't have any drawdown because I didn't sell it at 1083. I sold it I saw it go to 83. I put a stop in. I put a sell stop in at 82.
Oh, okay.
We got 3, and it went straight down. You remember look? You heard it on the show. We went long. We recommended going long. Dry ships, DRYS.
Oh yeah, there was a question.
$4 or $5 a share. I know. I wanted to answer that. I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
We went long. You and I went long a decade ago, more than a decade ago, at $4, I think, and it went to 40 like within about a week. Remember that?
I remember.
And right, and I thought the same thing might happen again, so we went long on this show at $4 or $5 a share. And it actually got an original buy at 3, and next thing you know, it's at 100. And on this very show, I said, sell it at 10. It got up to 102. I said, put a stop in at 101, and if it breaks 100, go short. Normally, we would sell it at 101 and go short at 101, but because it was really just gone over 100, I didn't know whether it was going to keep going higher. I didn't necessarily want to be short, but I figured when it broke 100. We should short it. I mean, 3 days later, it was at $9 a share. $9 a share. That's the greatest up and down in my life. I never called anything like it in history. I mean, we went from 5 to 100 and back down to 9 or 101 and back down to 9 in less than 10 days. And as many days you can count on your hands. So it was a stunning performance, but that's what we're about.
How much did you say? How much is Intel up today?
It's up, hang on. It's up 89 cents right now.
There's an article out about a half an hour ago that said Apple may be looking to reduce its reliance on chip makers Intel and Qualcomm, reportedly working on its own semiconductors for its MacBooks and iPhones. Industry sources told the Nikkei Review that the Cupertino, California-based company wants to lower its dependence on Intel for its notebook computer products and is looking to build one based on the ARM architecture. Notebooks are becoming thinner, while consumers are demanding better mobility and longer battery life. That gives ARM's architecture, which is known for its power efficiency, a very good opportunity. That could be a blow to Intel, given that it has long dominated the PC and notebook markets when it comes to supplying chips to perform the major functions of computers. You hear about that iPhone 8? There's been a couple of them that have basically exploded.
No, I haven't heard that yet. But Apple, just looking at Apple, actually, boy, if we break down here another $1 or so, it's not going to look very good. The stock is really not very. It's not acting very well right now. It's kind of it's broken its trend. It's it's had this bit of a rebound in the last week, but if that gets taken out, we start breaking 150 on the downside, that would be, not very bad, I think. And you've got to be careful when Apple corrects, it tends to drag the market down with it. So what I was trying to say to everybody is, look, the market is very, very bullish today because the financials are leading the way. The energy stocks have exploded higher again. I mean, energy is falling in actuality in the price of gasoline and stuff and oil. It's rallying a bit right now. We sold the energy right up at the highs. We shorted almost a week ago, and look at the shorts. Look at it's just incredible what happened to the energy in the last couple of days. But the stocks are holding in, which means that right now the energy is probably a pretty good buy down here in the next few days, potentially. By the way, remember I mentioned that TTD? Remember that?
TTD, what's that?
Yeah, the trade desk.
Oh, the trade desk, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I called that a few days ago when it was around.
I looked it up that day. I went to their website.
Yeah, check it out. It jumped right up to 62 since I called it here on the show, and we sold it at 61.5 on Friday. So look, this is a different bull market. It's a very powerful bull market because I certainly listened to what Garrett said. I don't disagree with him about being a fifth wave. We're in a third of a fifth. We could be in a third of a fifth, but in all honesty, because this is a stronger market than the 90s, by the fact that the 90s was a bull market that confused a lot of people because the breadth of the market was not leading the market higher. The market was being led higher in the 90s by Microsoft and Dell and Intel and the tech sector, not in the same way as this rally is going on. This market is a very broad rally that's being led by the body of the market, and it's never happened before. It's never, ever happened before. And, all these people who say the Fed, what are they doing? They're printing money, and whatever they're doing, it works. They have created the most unbelievable bull market possibly in our history, and there is every reason to believe. Oh, look, there's a chart. I haven't had a chance to send it to you yet, but there's a very interesting chart showing the interest rates over the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. And, think about this. We had a roaring bull market in the 90s for the whole of the 90s. And, interest rates were sort of like 4 or 5% all the way up. Right. I mean, people, last week, the stocks are going to sell off because rates went up a fraction. For heaven's sake, this bull market could go on for years, especially with the tax and everything else going on. And interest rates could go up to 3, 4, 5%, and the market probably won't even correct. I mean, it might correct, but it's probably still going to be a bull market. So it's unlikely that we're going to see any kind of real rise in interest rates until the end of the year at the earliest. And as we talked about this on the show the other day, if Goldman Sachs says there's only going to be nine interest rates between now and 19, say, or 20, and from 2004 to 2007 there were 19 rate hikes. That's why we got the crash, partly. If there's only 9, that's pretty tame compared to the. We had a pretty rip-roaring bull market from 4 to 7, and from an Elliott wave standpoint, it was a C wave in an ABC correction in the 70s, which is exactly what Garrett's got in his chart. And we hit the bottom in 09. We're in an up wave at the moment. We're in a 5th wave, and when you're in an up wave, it's not a corrective wave like the Z wave from 4 to 7. It's a real wave. It's a real up wave, and there's a lot of relationships between the 80s up wave, the 90s up wave, and the up wave we're currently in right now. As Garrett said, there's a lot of 1-2s. What was all over I went through every single S&P tick from 1975 through 1990, almost every one. And the whole of the 80s was 1-2s, 1-2s, 1-2s. And there was a big 1-2 called 1987 when it got a big A wave down. We had a B wave up to 1990, and then we had a C wave. And then we launched into the biggest third wave of our generation in the 90s. But it may have been a third wave of another 1-2. And then the 2000 ABC to 2009 could actually have been an ABC of the last, of the last second wave, or the last not second wave, but the last first wave of what could be a bull market down the road. We can't even see yet. So all the indications are we're in a third wave right now. Possibly a third of a third. If we're in a third of a third, this bull market has got another 10 years, 10 to maybe 12 years ahead of it. Now, there might be some corrections in the meantime, but I believe that this bull market has about 15 years. It's 15, from the 16 bottom, you can count, probably 13 odd years. And we said it on the show a while back. This could be a 15-year bull market. So there's too many innovations going on. We're in a golden age right now, like nothing ever before, and the combination of many things coming together, in spite of the debt and all the rest of it. The world's really. We've never had 45 countries growing simultaneously before. There's a lot of things going on today that have never happened before. We got all-time record profits, like never before. There's just the ability, the efficiencies that the mobile phone that everybody has in their hand these days have brought to personal work days and efficiencies are just things. Just mind-boggling from what you could have done 20, 50, compared to 50 years ago. There's just no comparison whatsoever. You can reach somebody anywhere, anytime, anywhere in the world today.
Yeah,
in some remote island.
From something you carry in your pocket. That's got to be one of the biggest changes
instantly,
of innovation.
And things can be done. All kinds of things can be done instantly today, like never before. Most of these millennials take it for granted, but people have been around for a while. If you lived 100 years. I've talked to some people who are 100 years old, and the thing that strikes them more than anything is the inflation that's gone on in 100 years of a lifetime. When a loaf of bread used to cost a penny, and now it costs $3-4 a loaf. That's a staggering amount of inflation to experience in your lifetime, and that's something that you've got to concentrate all the time on getting ahead of if you want to survive. If you want to do better, if you want to build your fortune, if you like, and earning more than you spend every day is really the way to live, because then you never go beyond your means, you never get into debt, and you've always got money put away for a rainy day. That's what everybody should be focusing on. And if you can make money, if you can make a little bit of money here on the show or through your services every day, and keep putting it away, and it covers all your expenses, that's a great way to go. That's.
How many years of life do you think this bull market has left in it?
Larry Lindsay, who's a pretty smart guy, he came on right after the tax cut lecture that Trump gave in Indiana, and he said 2 to 5 years, strong, 3% growth, 2 to 5 years. So I think you have to listen to him. The bull market's going to go on for as long as it's going to go on for. Does it mean, look, we could have a correction that starts tomorrow? You can't rule it out. We might be seeing the beginning of one right now. There are some stocks that are stalling a bit here, And, there are things going on that you have to take note of. Like, we've got the biggest short position ever in the VIXs right now. That is a dangerous thing. It doesn't mean it's going to be a catastrophe, not necessarily. But we've had some heartache corrections. Most of the corrections that we've had this year have been heart attack corrections that come out of nowhere. and some of them have looked pretty grim at the bottom, and then they bottom out and go back up again. A warning sign, if you like. You can certainly take this as a warning sign. The fact that the FANGs have corrected upwards of 20% is something that is definitely something to be concerned about, because the leadership of the market that drove it for the last couple of years seems to be faltering, but other sectors are taking over. And a rotating bull market is really the best bull market you can ever have, because it keeps sort of refreshing itself and re-energizing itself, and that's definitely the case with this bull market. I mean, the most amazing thing is, since 2016, since the bottom in 2016 up until this year, the healthcare was completely AWOL. It was completely not happening. The fourth stool of the bull market was not there. The market went up on three legs rather, since then. So the fact that the healthcare issues are now, certainly leading the way higher again is really, really bullish. And if you look at the LABU, look at the LABU had a lot of trouble getting off the bottom in the 25s, around the 20s, 25 area. It just hit 90. And its all-time high is about 200 and something, 290. It's got a long way to go to new highs, and it may very well do that. Somebody came out with a price target on Amazon last week, 1450. I mean, if that happens, we're going to be hundreds of points higher before this market is this next leg. If that starts happening, we're gonna go a lot higher. I think Morgan Stanley came out last week and said, because somebody called me up and said, if the S&P goes to 2,700, where's the Dow gonna go? Where's the Dow gonna be? Well, I said it's probably gonna be at least 26 or 25 to 26,000. So I mean, there's a fella out there. There's an Indian guy who's a very, very smart guy. He made about 5 or 10 billion in the last decade, real money. He thinks the Dow is going to go to about 36,000. So, I think that there's a lot of the tax cuts. We've talked about it endlessly about Ireland, almost the 6th or 7th richest country in the world now. Why? Because taxes are low. Ireland, what do low taxes do for Ireland? They make Ireland a very attractive place for a company to go and set up and do business. That's the key. And what
do you think happens to Ireland if Google and Apple take advantage of this tax opportunity to repatriate their dollars, to bring the money home?
I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I mean, they're still going to be there in Ireland. They're still going to be doing business. And that's really what makes Ireland, a hub of Europe, if you like. But the point is that lowering the taxes in the U.S. is going to bring a lot of those companies that went over to China. It's going to bring them back. And in companies that went to Mexico is going to bring them back. And it's going to mean more. I mean, the Germans are going to start saying, well, we might move more manufacturing from Germany to the U.S., which they're already doing. So I think it's got to be, and getting, I mean, if you bring half of those corporations, 70,000 corporations back to the U.S., the impetus would be phenomenal. And if they can bring enough manufacturing jobs back so that we, make up for the 5 million that's been lost, the U.S. is going to be a pretty hot, pretty nice place to live. For people are going to be a lot happier, and there's going to be a lot of momentum again. It's kind of like the 50s. We need to kind of go back to the 50s when the environment in the U.S. was very, there was a very low unemployment rate. The unemployment at one stage was 2.1 or 2.2% in the early 50s. If we start seeing that again, it's going to be the momentum of the economy and the momentum of everyday life is going to be pretty exciting for everybody. So,
well, you make a compelling case, I gotta say.
Well, look, we've been, to be fair, we've been pounding the table since the election. You and me. Would you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been very bullish on Trump, and in spite of all the setbacks that he's had to endure, I mean, we're look at where we are today, and we still haven't even passed the tax bill yet. So, passing the tax bill kind of resets the market. It resets, all the earnings. It's like, here we are at 22,000, 22,500. So the PE ratio of the Dow today, you could say, is about 22.5, maybe, okay? 22.5 times earnings. If they lower corporate taxes down to 20%, it's almost like the PE goes back to about 12 or 13. What's that going to do to the price of the Dow? The Dow is going to go crazy. I mean, the Dow could go up another 50% or even 100%. That's what people don't understand. And look at Apple. I mean, Apple's got so much money. It's got more money than a lot of countries.
Yeah,
and,
that's true.
And a lot of these companies are putting away billions and billions of dollars. I mean, look at Microsoft. All these big tech companies are putting away tremendous amounts of money. So their companies are becoming more value just every single quarter. And then very soon, when this Saudi Aramco deal comes, I mean, that's going to add $2 trillion to the market caps overnight, the day that thing comes out. So there's plenty of reason to be. I mean, look, one of the reasons why the markets have been going higher is because the IPO, the new issuance of new stocks has been very, very low for the last year or two. So there's more money chasing fewer stocks effectively, because some stocks get taken over. So the actual amount of stock in the world has probably been shrinking over the last year or two. Now, if we start to see a lot of IPOs suddenly come out because of Roku was a hit last week, that might put if we get an endless run of IPOs like we did in the dot-com boom, it's the death knell of the market. But we're a long way from that happening yet. And maybe it's not going to happen in the same way as it did before, because it's not going to be kind of a free-for-all anymore with dot-coms that were just sort of invented a few months previously suddenly going public.
What did Roku IPO at? Do you know?
About 14, or I think 14. 14 or 16.
What symbol is it trading under?
ROKU.
Wow. That's pretty good. I got that symbol.
Yeah.
ROKU.
By the way, the guy who asked me about dry ships, he should pat himself on the back, because that was a very interesting question he asked. I mean, the very out-of-the-box type of question, which was, he's a really smart guy. Well, the repealing of the Jones Act temporarily or even permanently would it be? I think permanently be very bullish for dry ships, but temporarily, I'm not so sure. But you never know. If they've got ships available, they could be used to take stuff to Puerto Rico. But it kind of reminds me of a course I took a long time ago on the market profile, and I was in the class, and I asked a few questions about the oil market, and that was a time when they had the speed limits, and they were just talking about lifting the speed limits on the roads, and I said that's going to mean more consumption and more, the price of oil is going to go up. And he said, "Wow," he said, "that's a sort of real out of the box type question." So when your friend asked this on Friday, it kind of reminded me of the same thing, because it really was a pretty far-reaching idea for somebody to come up with. I wouldn't have thought of it myself, to be honest with you. So I was quite impressed. And by the way, DRYS is up today, and we did put a buyout on it last week. It's starting to show that it might actually take off again, because it sort of took off from the lows, had a big run from the lows, and then it's sort of been basing out here. But if it breaks out to the upside, at worst it could rally a few dollars from here, and at best it could do another run, a really big run. And the good news for dry ships is that the Baltic index is rising, and demand for shipping is rising as well. So it may be enough to get them out of trouble. But it's a very risky stock, and I'd be extremely careful if you're thinking about getting involved in that stock, because any stock that can fall from $100 to $9 in 3 days is definitely a stock you have to have your wits about you.
Yeah.
So,
no doubt about it.
Yeah, but anyhow, it is. I mean, really is. This is an amazing market that we're in right now. I mean, there's some really incredible things going on with a lot of stocks almost every day. There's a lot of pickings out there.
Even Bitcoin has bounced back to, I think, just shy of an all-time high, or maybe it broke a new high. It shrugged off the Jamie Dimon comments and the whole China thing.
Well, if you remember what I said, if it goes to new highs, it's probably going to go all the way to 8.5. So it very well could do that now, because it's just getting back over 5,000. That's a monumental accomplishment, given that it got a hit down to 3. And after it went to 3, we said it would go to 4, and I did say if it broke above 4, it would probably keep going upwards. So it's certainly done that, and there's a lot of people who are making a ton of money out of trading that stuff. But people who've got the computing power to do it, and who've got the right kind of connections and everything. But it's extremely volatile thing. I mean, it's not like a normal stock, and it does tend to have.
It can have $500 price swings in a day.
Yeah, exactly. It has a mind of its own. It's really a pretty hard thing to trade, in all honesty.
And finding a suitable platform and employing the methodologies that you would normally employ. It's a different environment.
Yeah, I think the best thing that's ever going to happen is the ETFs on this, and maybe a futures contract on it, will probably be the way to go. Then I think it'll be pretty good trading. We'll be able to trade that. I mean, another thing is, look at Tesla. By the way, has had a pretty big correction, but it's probably getting ready to be bought right here around about 340, 345, somewhere like that. It might be ready for another run up, Tesla. But Netflix keeps going down. Look at it. It's really getting hammered today, that stock.
Now, is Netflix behind the Movie Pass? You familiar with that?
Yeah, I don't think so. That might be one reason why Netflix is suffering a bit.
Let's see. Movie Pass. Who's behind this thing? I don't see how it can possibly survive. For those that don't know, for one low monthly price of $10, you can watch a movie in a movie theater, over 4,000 theaters, more than 36,000 screens. You can watch a movie every day of the month. One movie every day of the month. And the cost is $10 per month.
That's a heck of a deal.
Well, you know, people have gotten out of the habit of getting in the car and driving through traffic to stand in line to watch a movie when, you know, most things are available on your TV. And if you have some software installed on your TV, even the stuff in the theaters is viewable. And the things with theaters is not only have ticket prices gone up so much over the years, but the cost of, you know, a popcorn and a Coke, that'll set you back more than the movie ticket. Hot dogs are $5.
Sure,
$7.
well, they're always more expensive in the movie houses. That stuff anyway. You know, it's a kind of a ripoff.
Well, it's a captive audience. You know, people don't have any other choice unless you smuggle it in.
So, well, listen. Thanks very much for the invite. Great show, Dwayne.
Glad to have you with us.
Likewise.
And we'll talk with you tomorrow.
Okay. All the best. Bye bye.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay. On the S&P, on the trade alerts, 25.24, and looked like we were going to trigger again, but it hasn't really made a move yet. And your stop would be down here, basically same place, 25.18. That's one we talked about. This one takes you beyond the $300 threshold, and this one just fits the parameter. And so if you are long from that point, don't be too concerned as of yet, because the possibility for this to do a leg and a little bit of a retracement, maybe not as deep as this one, and to continue higher. That's 27.28 overhead should act like a bit of a magnet to pull the market higher. We'll see. On the Dow, we were looking to be long 22.405, and we ran up, and it was 64 points when I measured it. Well, I don't think I gave you an opportunity to take a screenshot, so let me do that. On top of your, if you're logged in through, go to webinar, the thing up top looks like a camera. Yep. Click it and it'll save an image to your desktop. And this is where I messed up on the sell side of the S&P. Okay. So we'll hit them real quick, so I've already marked them up. We're looking to sell 958 on soybeans, and we got down to a low of 56 and a quarter, 1.75. Not the 2 points we like to look for minimum. On gold, we said to consider selling 1277. This yellow arrow is the Globex Open. This first move down, there was $300 per contract available. We never get out at the swing high or the swing low. Why? Because we trail our stop. And if you trail your stop, you're almost always going to leave a little something on the table. Okay? This next move down was good for $250 per contract. And then here's one with lower risk, 200 bucks, and it's broken, and it dropped to 1275, make that, yeah, 1275.70. And it just, this important prices, important areas are almost always tested. Man, it can't break away. Now, there was a request for zones on gold this week, and I actually complied, and then I misplaced my new sheet, which I just found. And so is this area that we're in right now. Yeah. Normally I don't do these till Thursday, but this week's trading zone. Partners get the zones every Monday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern, 6:15. But 1277/78 is actually a weekly zone. I'll just, since I threw it out there, I'll go ahead and put her on the chart. Okay, 1277. $12.78. Now this is important because we only have 2 more zones below us on gold. The lowest one being 42/43. So a very sideways day for gold. Friday, we had pretty nice range, unfortunately, to the downside. And then here's the day of consolidation, unless something changes between now and the closing bell. Bonds got nothing, no triggers at all. Very low volatility there. This didn't quite make it to the long side, and this didn't quite make it to the short side. Came very close, very, very close, but no cigar. All right, that leaves covered bonds, crude oil. And these are last week's zones. Okay, last night the Globex open right here. There we go. A wee little doji. And some pretty quiet sideways action. And on the sell side for crude, we're looking at 51.50. It should be right about there. Sell 51.50. Okay, and so pretty low risk here, and even there, and we put in a low in this move. Low of the day has been 50.07. So from 51.50 to 50.50, that's $1,000 per contract available. It's going to be right about there. moved on past that. At that point, there was $1,000 per contract available if you were still in the trade. But from 50.50, it dropped another $430. Yeah. So that would be grand total in this move, 1,430 per contract available. Now, the rule of thumb says anytime you make $1,000 per contract in one day, you take the money and put the mouse away. If you were using the indicators on this move, which you can, load them up. There we go. Okay. When the step on a short trade, when the step line crosses the CFMA1, you're looking for a bullish close above the step line. We don't get that till over here. Okay? But as soon as this crosses, you start to get the idea that, you know, this run may have extended itself. Price will always revert to the mean, and with our indicators, that mean being the BBC, and that looks like where price is headed. The question is we've had a leg down, retracement. Will there be another leg down? Time will tell. This is crude. Just call it crude. Okay. Covered all of these. I think the only thing left is the Russell. On the Russell, consider buying 1497. First move up, $250 per contract available. Again, never get out at the swing high or swing low. Trail your stop. You're going to get taken out based up. The market will take you out based upon where you're trailing your stop. Price gets back below the trigger. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. And we've had a $400 run so far. So that covers each and every market for the day. The S&P still sitting right at that 25-24 trigger where it's been for the past hour. The Dow creeping a little bit higher. Cash numbers I gave you at the beginning of the show. I'll give them to you again real quick in the U.S. markets. Dow up 130 points. NASDAQ now in the green, up 10.5. S&P 500 up 7.5, and the Russell 2000 up almost 11 points. That's well over half of 1% for the Russell and the Dow. The commodity basket, on the other hand, today of a different color. Nothing but red. Gold down $8.10. And crude down $1.23. So crude was down almost 3% at the open of the show. Now we're down just a little over 2%. Now let's go back to crude for just a second. Here's the potential turnaround. But at 50.10, we still have a couple zones below us for this week. Anytime we hit the highest or lowest weekly trading zone by Tuesday, it quite often leads to a reversal, and the rest of the week is spent headed in the opposite direction. So we'll be watching gold and crude tomorrow morning to see if, in fact, we do reach the lowest weekly trading zone. All right. So that will do it for this somewhat somber Monday, first day of October 2017. Continue to please pray for the people of Las Vegas, those who are there, those who were injured, those who lost their life, their families. A lot of people with a lot of life to try to understand, put back together. And of course, in the back of your mind, you can't help but think, where next? Why next? Why does there have to be a next? And this guy operating, as far as we know at this point, yes, ISIS is taking credit for it, but we have no idea if that's true, according to what the news wires tell us. Lone wolf. No previous. This guy lived 64 years on the face of the earth. Had no prior criminal record. Now, his brother said he wasn't a gun guy, but he lived in Nevada and had a hunting license in Alaska. Those two don't seem to fit, but I suppose more will come out as days pass and they go in and take a look at his computer, at his hard drive, and see where he had been and what he had done, etc. So with that, we will wrap up this edition, and we will be back to talk to you tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.